Hey guys, this is Keelan. I want to welcome you back to my channel, Common America. And the topic I'm going to talk about, if you haven't already known, is basically the testimony of Dr. Rick Bright, who's basically ousted, and he's from the CDC, and basically he was fired by he was ousted. He's a whistleblower, and he's basically going to giving DT basically talks about says how there was no plan to mass produce and distribute a vaccine and warned the need for a comprehensive national response heading into the fall. He basically talks about how why the Trump administration's handling and planning on how to deal with the coronavirus was so lackluster and even at times chaotic and downright kooky, if that's for lack of better terms. And so basically, he was ousted from the he was ousted from the he's a top health and human services official who testified before Congress earlier today that the Trump administration's timeline for a coronavirus vaccine is likely too optimistic, and that there's no plan to mass produce and distribute one. And he says hope for a vaccine better in 12 to 18 months, assuming that everything goes perfectly. And said that's what Dr. Bright said, and told the House Energy Commerce Subcommittee on Health, adding, "We never seen anything go so perfectly." Bright also said he had warned the administration about shortages of personal protection equipment, and he faulted President Donald Trump and senior officials for having minimized the outbreak early on. What he said, with deadly consequences. And he also went on to say, "I believe Americans need to be told the truth." Bright said, "We did not forewarn people. We did not train people. We did not educate them on social distancing and wearing a mask like we should have in January and February. All those forewarnings, all those education opportunities for the American public could have an impact in further slowing down this outbreak and saving more lives." On developing a vaccine, Bright warned lawmakers that even if one could be ready, there's no strategy for mass production. And he said, if you can imagine the scenario this fall or winter, maybe even earlier next spring, when the vaccine becomes available, there is no one company that can produce enough for our country or for the world. It's going to be limited supplies. Bryce said, "We need to have a strategy and a plan in place now to make sure that we can not only fill that vaccine, make it distributed, but also administer in a fair and equitable way." He said we do not have that yet, and it's a significant concern. And he's basically contradicting directly what Trump says. Who's not basically, if he's been following his a lot of his Trump directly contradicts what his people who's what his Dr. Fauci, Dr. Burke say. He directly contradicts the leading experts on this, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's basically, if you had to compare, you had to compare contrast Trump and Obama. It's basically I'm coming. It's basically night and day on how they handle on how a leader's supposed to respond, how supposed to be educated about something before they open their mouth, and uh and they don't contradict on the experts. They listen to the experts and take their wisdom into take the wisdom into and hit the wisdom and assimilate it and understand it. And so basically, Dr. Bright directly contradicted what Trump said on Fox News on earlier today, that he said, "I think we'll have a vaccine by the end of the year." He suggested the military will distribute it. He says our military is being mobilized so that at the end of the year we get to a lot of people on very rapidly. Very rapidly, he said. Bright testified that he raised flags about the lack of N95 masks and national stockpile in January, which helped lead to shortage in protective equipment for healthcare workers. As a result, he said lives were in danger and I believe lives were lost. Not only that, He said we were forced to procure supplies from other countries without the right quality standards. So even our doctors and nurses in the hospitals today are wearing N95 masks from other countries that are not providing sufficient protection that a U.S. standard N95 mask will provide them. He said. Bright also warned that the administration needs to help develop a comprehensive, well implemented national response plan heading into the fall. Without one, he said, the coronavirus outbreak could combine with a seasonal flu later this year to create the darkest winter in modern history. He says our window of opportunity is closing. And Bright said in his opening remarks, if we fail to develop a national coordinated response based in science, I fear that the pandemic will get far worse and be prolonged, causing unprecedented illness and fatalities. And so basically, a Trump loyalist who's in a health and human services secretary, he basically contradicted everything Dr. Bright said. As you expect from a Trump, where Trump mostly fires people who are either not too who are not sufficiently loyal in his opinion, or they outright tell the truth, and the truth contradicts whatever story that whatever footage is he peddling or disseminating to the public to his press briefings and his bully pulpit, which is the White House. And so, Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar, who Bright says ignored his warnings about the country's preparedness, said Bright's information is outdated. He said everything he's complaining about was achieved. Everything he talked about was done. Azar told reporters on the White House South Line every single thing. Azar, who was with Trump, who said he watched some of Bright's testimony. He's like an angry, disgruntled employee who, frankly, according to some people, didn't do a very good job. So basically, that's what I wanted to tell you guys about, give you guys information about that. That's another significant piece of news and something that was happening today. If you guys want more content like this, comment, like, subscribe, and you guys be safe and have a good day out.